guys, Ivan Carranza here, and today we're taking a look at the Aguilar tone hammer. In case you aren't familiar with Aguilar products, the tone hammer was actually the inspiration for the really successful line of amps, the tone hammer 500, the tone hammer 350, and the recently released tone hammer 700. And it all started with this pedal. And here we got two foot switches, one to engage the circuitry, the preamp, and the other one is the A.G.S circuitry, which stands for Adaptive Gain Shaping, and it's kind of like an overdrive. For the controls, we've got a master volume, a bass boost and cut, a treble boost and cut, a mid-range boost and cut, and also you've got control over a mid sweep, which ranges from 180 Hz to 1 kHz. And lastly, we've got a gain knob. On top of the pedal, you've got your input jack, your power supply socket, a pre or post EQ switch, your XLR output, a ground lift switch, and your output jack. Something important to mention is that the pedal works at 18 volts, not 9. So you need either two 9-volt batteries, an 18-volt power supply, or you can power up the unit using phantom power, which is what I did. Now let's listen to some samples. As you could hear from the examples, the controls have a really wide range of boost and cut. So just a little turn goes a long way. So you gotta be careful with that. But even though if you boost it all the way, for example, if you boost or crank the bass all the way, as you could hear in the samples, it gets definitely thick and huge, but it still retains definition. So it's not really muddy or undefined. And the same applies for the treble on the mid-range. On the treble, I was boosting it all the way, and it wasn't like harsh or too aggressive that I would say, ew, that's just not functional. So you do have a lot of usable range on the controls as well. And I'm assuming that part of that is because the pedal runs at 18 volts and not 9, and therefore you have a lot more headroom available here. Now the fact that it runs on 18 volts can be also somewhat of a disadvantage, because you need, like I said, 2 9-volt batteries or a special power supply that can provide you with 18 volts, or you have to rely on phantom power. And that also plays a role on where on your pedal board you're gonna put the DI. Because if you just send pre-EQ all the time, then you can be a bit more flexible. But if you need the EQ go to front of house, you have to think about where your other effects are gonna be. Because if you have this at the end of the chain, for example, and then you have all your effects before, and then you take this post EQ to front of house, then it's all good. All the sound that you have on your signal chain is gonna be transmitted to the desk. But if you have this at the beginning of the chain, for example, and then you get other effects later, and you take the post or pre EQ from here, front of house is not gonna get the effects on your signal chain, because this is the first in the chain, for example. So you have to think about that as well. One feature that I really liked about the pedal, and I was actually using it for the intro song, is the A.G.S circuitry. And I was running the gain quite low, because like the other controls, also a little bit goes a long way. So you gotta be careful with that before it starts sounding a bit too distorted. But you can dial in just the right amount of gain and overdrive by using the master volume and also the gain control. And it is kind of like a, I would say, mid-focused overdrive kind of sound. It's not like overly aggressive or grindy like a chainsaw. It's more like really like kind of like a tube amp-ish sound. So it's really nice. Overall, the tone hammer is definitely a great sounding DI pedal, and with all the controls you've got, you can shape your tone in many different ways. And the A.G.S circuitry is definitely a nice touch, which I would personally leave probably on all the time, just to give me that little bit of kind of like tube amp saturation. But that's up to you. If you liked the tone hammer, I would encourage you to go over to their website, which is aguilaramp.com, to check out this pedal and some of the other products that they offer. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.